All right, cool. So we are in the sales pipeline section in the settings area. And so we are going to, let me zoom in on this. So I'm going to show you my pipeline. This is generally already done for you with a generic pipeline, okay? So you might not even have to do any of this stuff. But remember, my pipeline is different. Let me give you an example, like an explanation why mine is different. Part of our sales process, part of our big thing of how if with the Online Empire Academy is that we partner up with people on projects. And the best way to do that is, for someone who's never ever heard of us before, is by doing a podcast and inviting them to come onto our podcast. It's not very invasive. It is what everyone does. And it allows them to get into a relationship with us in some kind of, it's like getting the appointment for a sale. And that is really the starting point of our funnel. We do have this contacted area where we basically have just contacted the person, but essentially this is the first part of our funnel, is contacted with an invite for the podcast, okay? So you're going to see that we have podcast and podcast scheduled, podcast conducted, and then next we want them to get into a webinar. And so then webinar scheduled, webinar conducted, and then we host a product. Okay, we actually partner up on a product together that we can put onto the Online Empire Academy or something else, and it is awesome. And it provides a ton of value to them, it provides a ton of value to us, and most importantly, it provides a ton of value for our customers, the actual consumers of the information or service or product. Okay, so that being said, yours might look totally different. Yours might be something like lead pool, and then prospect, and then suspect, and then customer, and then won and lost, or something like that. But generally, that's the way this goes. Now, these are the order of your pipeline. So a couple of things on this column. Obviously, you have your edit column, you have your contacted column, your name column, what the name of this thing is. And anytime you click edit, you're going to see up here that it pops up. So you can edit what that stage is, okay? Now, the next column is target number of days. This is the target number of days that this part of the pipeline should be done. So when you've contacted someone with a podcast request, it should only take about 3 days for them to get into the podcast scheduled time, the section of the pipeline, okay? And same thing with podcast conducted. It should only take 10 days to follow up with them for a webinar, okay? The probability column, this is how likely is it that this will be completed, okay? And normally it's going to be 100% for this. This is generally what it's going to be, 75%, 75%. Obviously, webinar, as you go further down the funnel, it's not going to be as probable, okay? Then order. Order is from lowest to highest. So this can be a 0, it can be a 1, it can be a 2 and 3 and whatever. The cool thing about if you do it in denominations of 10 or more is that if you need to change something around, then you don't have to change the whole entire thing. So sometimes, like, I messed up and I'll do a 54 here because I wanted that to be before webinar scheduled. So generally you want to do 0, you can do 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. It makes it easier to do it. But when Infusionsoft sees this, they see this as the start. This is the starting. This is the principle of the pipeline. This is something that's after, and after that one, and after that one, and after that one, and after that one. Okay. Checklist is pretty interesting. If you have, say, a sales team that's on the phone and they have to go through certain things, you can actually add checklist items that if they don't do those items, they can't go on to the next stage. They actually have to check those off. So it might be something like when they're on the phone with a customer, ask if they want the extended warranty, click. Ask if they have this, ask if they have that, boom, boom. Or it could be someone administrative, that part of this funnel goes to an administrative person. Check to see if they have a file, check. go and if they don't have a file, do this, check. If they do have a file, do this, check. Okay, so that's what that's for. And obviously you have your delete column. But generally that's how you're going to create your funnel. So mine starts with contact, it goes all the way up to hosted products, and then you have the last two, which is won and lost. Okay, won and lost. So your won is where they have become a client and you have gotten money for it, and then lost is where they are gone and you can put them into like a long-term sequence or something like that. Okay, so that's your default pipeline. Okay, that is your default pipeline. Anytime you change your pipeline, you can click this rebuild pipeline thing up there and it will rebuild for any of your sales team. Okay, before we go, I want to show you something right here. Round robins. If you have a sales team, you can actually create what's called a round robin over here. And I'm zoomed in, so it kind of looks kind of weird, but the default round robin is, the logic is 1 per round. So you can, if a new lead comes in, you have a sales team of 3, you can go and say each person is equally going to get that lead, okay? But then you can also change that round robin to distribute records based on ratio. If you have someone who's just a monster at selling, you can have them get a 75%, and then these guys get the rest of the percentage. But this one person gets a ton more than the rest. Okay, but it's all dependent on how you want them to be distributed in that round robin. Okay. All right. That's really it when it comes to setting up the pipeline. Super easy. You're not going to do this pipeline automation here, and this product interest bundles. That is basically, you can add some products to a bundle and use that as kind of like an urgency tool to get someone to buy now. Like if you have someone on the phone and you said, hey, you know what, I can throw in 2 Ginsu knives and a sponge or something like that, and I can get that to you completely free for the next, if you can do it within the next 24 hours. It can be something like that, okay? But we're not going to go too far into that. All right, let's look at the campaign builder.